Good evening and welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this live demo with Taylor Horton of the Compounding Growth Mastery Trading Room here at Simpler. Tonight you'll discover how Taylor grew his account an astonishing 147% in just 2 weeks by only targeting A-plus squeezes. We'll dive deep into his powerful strategies, explore real-life case studies, and reveal how you can sharpen your trading edge with Taylor's exclusive 25 Trade Challenge. So prepare for an exciting webinar filled with valuable, actionable trading insights. Taylor, the floor is yours.
All right, what's up, guys? That's the best part of the webinar. The Daryl entry. The man with the golden voice. All right, let's do a quick sound check, make sure we are rocking and rolling. Can you hear me? Can you see the screens? All right, Mirza says we are good to go. All right, welcome, everyone. As always, thank you all for coming out tonight. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being here after a wild day on Wall Street. This shouldn't be a long webinar, so we'll hang out for a bit. We'll have some fun. We'll have a few laughs. You'll learn a thing or two. We'll talk about my upcoming 25 Trade Challenge. And then at the end of the webinar, I'll send you home with a watch list of A-plus setups for tomorrow. That all sound good? All righty. First, a little bit about me. If you haven't seen me here at Simpler or on my YouTube channel, my name is Taylor Horton. I am the VP of Directional Option Strategies here at Simpler. And I've been trading for about 10 plus years now. I was born and raised in Massachusetts. And with that being said, my Boston Celtics are playing in the finals tonight. So therefore, I won't keep it for too long. But that's how you know I love you guys. I'm doing a webinar on Game 3. That's how much I love this stuff. Jason says, go Mavs. We'll find out, Jason. Got a picture here of my dad and I from back in 1992. And I'm told I was much cuter back then. But I'm sitting on his lap here as he reads a financial publication. And because of him, I got my start in trading. He's made a living my whole life from the market. He introduced me to the game at a very young age. When I left public school in 9th grade to homeschool myself online, and that's a story for another day, it then became my dream to one day become a full-time trader. Then you have the Taylors and the Beans. In September of 2022, I married my dream girl, and now we both share a life together, and we happen to share the same name. Her name is also Taylor. So as if one Taylor Horton was not enough, now you've got two. And the pup on the right there, that is Cocoa Beans, my best friend and my partner in crime. So these two are my why. They're the reason I work so hard at my craft. I want to give them the best life possible, and I want to make sure that Beans here has all the tennis balls she will ever need. I joined the Simpler team back in late 2020, which was really a full circle moment. I got my introduction to options from JC and Henry's work. Two guys I have a lot of respect for, a lot of love for. So to have a chance to work alongside them in the community that they built, that is something that I cherish and something that I never take for granted. Then I got a picture here of me and the fellas, some of the guys on the roster. We've got Cody, you've got Sam, TG, and JR. And that was from our trip to Chicago last year. Quite the cast of characters, if you ask me. Now, question, how did everyone trade today? A bit of a wild day on Wall Street. We had the CPI report. We had Jerome and the Fed. We had Broadcom earnings after the close. I've got to ask, did anybody catch Broadcom? What a move. I think last time I checked, it's going towards $1,700 in the after hours. Crazy, crazy move. Now, unfortunately, I did not catch Broadcom, but I'm hoping that a few of you did. We came into today long AI. We bought some calls on AI in my room off of the 2-hour squeeze, and we sold those for a 70% profit at the open on the gap. We got the gift of the gap. Always a great way to start your morning. And sometimes on a day like today, trading can feel really easy. But why do most traders struggle to make money consistently? I think a big part of it is the quality of the setups they trade and the quality of their approach. I got a quote here from Mark Douglas, the godfather of trading psychology, and I love this quote. The quote reads, "I define random trading as poorly planned trades or trades that are not planned at all. It is in an organized approach which does not allow you to find out what works on a consistent basis." And I see that a lot from retail traders. I love that quote. A lot of retail traders, they jump from strategy to strategy. They jump from setup to setup. They never really commit to anything. They never give themselves a chance to see if something actually works. That is no bueno. It's always been my belief in trading. You want to aim to become a specialist. This is Stephen Curry, an NBA player. And sure, he can dribble the ball. He can pass the ball. Steph is a specialist. He's there to shoot the ball. And he is regarded as the best shooter of all time. Now, is he a better shooter than me? That's up for debate. The world may never know. Point being, though, he's a specialist. In your own trading, you also want to aim to become a specialist. So the key to trading success is trading a system with edge, doing the same things over and over and over again. All the while understanding, and this is super important, guys, all the while understanding the results of one given trade are completely random. And Mark Douglas talked about that in his book as well. If you're hearing that for the first time, you might be thinking, all right, well, if the results of one given trade are completely random, how can I make money consistently? If we trade systems with edge, the numbers work out in our favor over the course of a series of trades. Think every 25 plus trades. When I follow my system in a disciplined fashion, I am consistently profitable over a series of trades. When I stray from my system and break my rules, my results suffer as they should. Thinking in terms of a series of trades, right, that kind of thinking, that kind of mindset, it makes trading way less stressful. What we all tend to do as traders, and if you've done this before, raise your hand in the chat. I've done it before. I think we've all done it before. We tend to make every trade we take a big mental, emotional ordeal, right? We make our current trade the end all be all. All right, I'm going to buy some calls here at Netflix. I'm going to put on some big size, and here we go, baby. I'm going to make me X amount of dollars. You are going into a trade with the expectation of a set outcome. When we do that, we can end up like this dude. Look at that poor guy. That guy is stressing. It's 12 o'clock at night. He's at his desk. He's checking the after hours quotes. He's stressing about his current trades. Meanwhile, his wife is saying, "Hey, honey, are you coming to bed?" And he says, "Yes, dear. I'll be there in a few minutes," as he punches his monitor and wipes the tears from his face. We don't want to be that guy. Even worse, you take your entire life savings and you bet it all on a stock like GME, aiming to become the next roaring kitty. and you end up like the guy from Tiger King. I am never going to financially recover from this trade. We don't want to be him either. So it's a discipline and a mindset thing. Having the discipline to follow my plan for trade after trade, along with having a probabilistic mindset, that helped me gain my edge. That helped me become a much more consistently profitable trader. Now let's talk a little bit about setups. So my foundation started back in 2016 with the original TTM squeeze. Raise your hand here in the chat if you trade the squeeze or you've heard of the squeeze. I'd imagine most of you do or you have. It is a little bit popular. Yeah, a lot of you, right? That was the foundation I built on. The TTM squeeze and the stacked EMAs. In my book, the squeeze is everything. If I don't have a squeeze, I simply don't have a trade. The squeeze finds periods of compression and expansion. Think like a coiled spring. When a stock is in a squeeze, it is gearing up for a bigger than expected move, or what I would call in plain English, an explosive move. So again, it's like a coiled spring or a volcano that is about to erupt. Few basics here on the squeeze. We got the squeeze histogram. We've got the red dots. We got the green dots. When you have the red dot on a histogram, the stock is in a squeeze, right? We've got a live one. It's going through that compression phase. It is building up energy, gearing up for potentially a big directional move. After a series of red dots, when we get the green dot, we are going into the expansion phase, the release of energy. Then you have the momentum bars. Light blue bar, bullish momentum and increasing. Dark blue bar, momentum is still bullish, but it is declining. Red bars means momentum is bearish and increasing. In the favor of the bears, the yellow bar, momentum is still bearish, but it's a little bit on the up and up. Then we got these stacked EMAs. So this is just one part of my structure criteria. When the EMAs are stacked positively, meaning the 5 EMA is above the 8 EMA, 8 above the 21, 21 above the 34, 34 above the 55. When that all comes together, the structure or the foundation of the chart supports that squeeze firing to the upside. Vice versa, if the EMAs are stacked negatively, the structure, the foundation of the chart supports that squeeze firing short. Therefore, if I'm getting long in a squeeze, the EMAs have to be stacked positively. That label in the top left-hand corner of the chart has to be green. If I'm shorting a squeeze, the EMAs have to be stacked negatively. Therefore, that label should be red. If not, I don't take a trade. Now, remember that for later. When we jump into the live charts here, I'm going to give you a bit of a quiz. I got a little quiz lined up for you. So that was my foundation, and over the last 8 or so years, and really over the last 12 or so months, my goal has been to take that foundation I started with, supercharge my squeeze-based process. I've added trend criteria. I've added structure criteria. I've added momentum criteria. I've built indicators. I got buy and sell signals, all in an effort to do what? All in an effort to ensure that every time I pull the trigger, I am trading nothing but what I would call an A-plus setup. An A-plus setup is simply a squeeze that fits all of my trend, structure, and momentum criteria. That's why I became a specialist. Same setup, same entry, same everything for trade after trade. All the while, working that winning mindset, thinking in terms of probabilities. Now, we're not here tonight to talk about the exact criteria, but I will show you how I can teach you that criteria in my room. So a few months ago, I sent out this tweet, and I will pose the same question to all of you here tonight. Can you follow your trading plan for one trade? Just one trade. Can you follow your plan? It's not that hard, right? Following our plan for one trade. Now, what about following your plan for 25 trades in a row? Do you think you can do that? Well, that is exactly what I did recently, and here are the results. Since I finalized the updates to my system about a month or so ago, I have 21 A-plus trades under my belt. 16 wins, 5 losses, good for a 60 or 76% win rate, average win of 64%, and an average loss of 33%. And that's kind of like the holy grail in trading, right? I am winning way more often than I'm losing, and when I win, the gains are about 2 times bigger than the losing trades. Now, these trades are taken with different strategies. I've got some long calls, I've got debit spreads, I got some butterflies. They were also taken across different time frames. Some weekly charts, some daily squeezes, some 30-minute, 15-minute, 1-hour time frames. The one thing they all had in common, every single one of these trades fit my A-plus criteria. Same setup, over and over again, for 21 trades in a row. My mission from here, I want to grow my larger account into a 7-figure account over the course of the next 2 years, and I really believe I can do that. 7-figure account in 2 years. Now, with that being said, there's 2 ways we can approach trading. We can be incredibly aggressive, or we can aim for consistent, steady compounding. If you remember from last year, I turned a $2,500 account into a $25,000 account in about 11 weeks. So every now and then, I enjoy trading a smaller account with these A-plus setups, being incredibly aggressive in my sizing, seeing what I can do. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But it does come with some wild swings, as you can see here. At one point during that 21 trade stretch, I took a smaller account of mine, traded it very aggressively, and I doubled that account in about 2 weeks and change. Now, at one point, the account was actually up about 300%. But I gave a little bit of that back on a Netflix trade and a little bit back on, I think it was another NVIDIA trade. So again, that can be a lot of fun. If you take these setups, if you're super aggressive with your size, you can have rapid growth. You can also experience some pretty gnarly swings. As a general statement, that's not my actual goal, nor is that my real focus. My real goal as a trader is to steadily yet aggressively compound my larger account month after month, year after year, for the remainder of my trading career. And I'm doing that with my bigger picture goals in mind. I want to give Taylor and Beans the best life possible, and I want to experience the things I love, the things I enjoy, with the people that I love and the people that I enjoy. But I want to get you thinking in terms of compounding. So to make the math easy, let's say I had a $10,000 account and I took each of those 21 trades, risking 2.5% of that starting balance. With a starting balance of $10,000, I'd be risking $250 per trade. At the end of that 21 trades, my account would have compounded to the tune of slightly more than 20%, leaving me with an ending balance of $12,000. Now, what if I can do that 4 times in a row? 10K would compound into 12K. 12K would compound into 14K. 14,000 would compound into 17,000. 17,000 would compound into 20,000 for an overall return of about 107% from the original starting balance. And to be clear, guys, we're not always going to have exactly a 75% win rate over the course of a series of trades. And the size of the wins, the size of the losses, they won't always be exact. But if we could at least put ourselves somewhere in that ballpark, that's the kind of growth that can take place. If I want to be a bit more aggressive and risk, say, 5% of my starting balance per trade, and frankly, for me, that's a sweet spot. In my bigger account, I tend to risk about 5% of the NLV per trade. 5% risk per trade, the compounding would look a bit more like this. After 4 series of 20 to 25 trades, that $10,000 starting balance could compound into about $40,000 and change, a 284% return on the initial starting balance. And like I said, all I'm trying to do here is get you thinking about the math and thinking about the compounding. Good trade after good trade, nothing but the ideal setups. You can make that consistency. With all that being said, let's look at a few trades here. We'll talk about my upcoming challenge. Then I want to spend some time in the charts, and I'll send you home with a watch list of A+ setups for tomorrow. And like I mentioned, different strategies, different time frames. We've got some daily charts. We've got some 15-minute. Some trades were day trades. Some trades were swing trades. The one thing they all had in common, they all fit my A+ criteria. Every single one of them. T-Mobile. So T-Mobile here, we had the A+ squeeze on the daily chart. We bought the 162.5 call at 410. A few days later, the squeeze fired. It worked its magic. We sold those calls for $625 for a 52% profit. The beast, formerly known as NVIDIA. Now, this one was a call butterfly. Call fly based on the 30-minute A+ setup. And this, of course, was before the big stock split. Found our setup. We bought the $10 wide 950 call fly. We bought that bad boy for 58 cents per contract. The next day, squeeze fires. NVIDIA gaps up, runs right towards our 950 target. We sold our call fly at 120 to lock in a 100% profit. Netflix and chill. 15-minute squeeze, A+ setup. I bought the 635 calls at 355 at the dealership getting my wife an oil change. This was an oil change trade. Bought those calls for 355. Next morning, sold them for 935, locked in a 165% profit. Again, not to be repetitive, I'm trading that 15-minute time frame in the same fashion and for the same reasons I trade that 30-minute time frame on NVIDIA. I trade that 30-minute time frame for the same reasons in the same fashion I trade the daily squeeze on T-Mobile. I am trying to be a specialist, not a jack of all trades. No pun intended. Coinbase. So this is our trade from last week in the room. 4-hour squeeze. Fit all the criteria. Checked off all the boxes, all the trend criteria, all the structure criteria, the buy and the sell signals, all the fixins for a push higher. We bought the 250 call at 423. The next morning, squeeze fires, Coinbase pushes, sold those calls at 640, locked in a 51% profit. So these are very much what I would call rinse and repeat setups. If you're a day trader, you look for these on a 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour. If you're a bit more of a swing trader, you look for them on a weekly, daily, 3-day, 2-day squeeze. My mindset for now, I'm not so much a day trader. I'm not so much a swing trader. I'm an A+ squeeze trader. I take them where I can get them in the strongest stocks possible. The other thing I love, from time frame to time frame and asset class to asset class, they're pretty universal. So I also like taking these on the futures as well. This was a few months back. I think it was like 7:30 in the morning, so 2 hours before the cash open. S&P futures had a 4-hour A plus squeeze. I bought the out the money call options on the futures. Squeeze fired. That led to a $7,000 profit. Not a bad way to start the day before the cash market opens. All right, now we got a losing trade here. Question for all of you. How many of you here tonight take pride in being a good loser? How many of you take pride in being a good loser? That might sound a bit weird. That is a huge part of trading success. The winning trades like Netflix and coin, etc., they're easy peasy, right? They take care of themselves. It's how we manage the ones that don't work that will determine our success. As traders, we got to stop being so afraid of losing trades. We got to stop getting so worked up about a losing trade. It's a very cliche saying. Losing trades are simply a cost of doing business that cannot be avoided. Think of it like this. If we all go out tomorrow and we open up a restaurant together, we shall call it the Squeeze Tavern. We're going to have our overhead, right? At the Squeeze Tavern. We got to pay rent on the location. We got to pay for insurance. We got to pay for supplies and goods. We got to pay our staff. That's our overhead. The goal would be at the end of every week, the end of every month, we've brought in enough business that after we subtract our cost of doing good, we are profitable. Your trading business is no different. Trade A plus setups, take your entries and your exits where you should. You can win a lot more often than you lose, leaving you with a good net profit. The thing I want you to understand here, the trade I took on MRK was the same exact trade as the one I took on T-Mobile. It was the same exact trade I took for every one of those 21 trades. What the typical trader will do, all right, here comes MRK. I'm going to buy me some calls. I'm going to make me some big cash. I'm going to make $5,000, $10,000. You're already screwed, right? You go into a trade with your heart set on a certain outcome. I've done that a lot in the past. I've got no more time for that. My thinking now is the complete opposite. All right, here comes Merck. It's got the squeeze. It fits all my A plus criteria. It checks all the boxes. Yeah, I'm going to take an entry. From there, I have complete acceptance that I've got no idea if that trade works. I take my entry. I am simply just along for the ride. I am here to find out what happens. This one given trade, it ain't the end all be all. It is not going to make or break my career. This one given trade, my next trade, nothing more than a drop in the bucket. If I take that same high quality setup, 25, 50, 100, 1,000 trades in a row, I'm going to make a lot of money. We can't have our trades be such a big emotional endeavor. And then the trade from this morning, AI, A plus setup on the 2-hour time frame. We bought some calls here when I was on vacation last Friday. We sat through a little bit of chop. We had to work the patience muscles on this one. We caught the gap up today. Bought those calls for 53 cents. Sold them this morning for 90 cents. Locked in another 70% profit. A good start to a good Wednesday morning. So a few examples there, and this is not what we're here to talk about tonight. My current system, my current charts, They look like this here on the left. I've got all these fancy labels. I've got buy and sell signals, all kinds of cool tools. These help me automate my process of finding these A+ setups. If you already have the indicators, that's awesome. However, that was built on the foundation that you see there on the right, the squeeze and the stacked EMAs. So how can I help you from here? Next Monday, I am starting a new 25 trade challenge, taking nothing but A+ squeezes for 25 trades in a row. I'll give you that workspace that my foundation started with. I'll give you a few different scans. I'll help you build upon that foundation using the A+ criteria that I can teach you in my room. Every single trade I take for this challenge, I will post in my mastery, the compounding growth room, or as the kids would call it, the CGM. In the room, you'll get access to real-time alerts, a learning center with recorded sessions, and during our live sessions, you can always ask me questions, pick my brain, call out setups. It is my job to be here and help. Now, here's the schedule for the room. Mondays and Wednesdays, we do a pre-market prep session from 7:45 a.m. Central for about 30 to 45 minutes. We run the scans, we tidy up the watch list, we get our A+ setups ready, we get ready to attack the day together. And what I'm thinking moving forward, for the sake of the 25 trade challenge, I might do an additional prep session on Thursday and Friday mornings as well. Let me know what y'all think about that. And then we have live trading for an hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10:30 a.m. Central to 11:30 a.m. Central. Along with that, we have our weekend prep session. I love these. Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Central, we all get together in the room. We recap the week. We build our watch list. We get ready to kick some butt the week ahead. And the great thing about all these sessions, they're all recorded. If you can't catch one in real time, you can catch them in the archive. So to start this challenge with me, you can get 30 days of access to the room for $7. All right, just $7. So it's a very small initial investment, and I'm very confident you'll learn a few things, some powerful things that can serve you well for the remainder of your career. The membership renews at $5.97 quarterly. You can cancel that membership at any given time. With the trial, you get 30 days of access to the room. You get that workspace containing the TTM squeeze and the stacked EMAs label. 2 different scans you can use to find these setups. A squeeze basics video, a trading psychology 101 video, and a 25 trades journal and spreadsheet. That way you can follow along with every trade I'm taking and every trade I'm posting. And you can also track your own trades and your own progress. Alrighty. If you want more information, if you have any questions, reach out to our support team here via email at support@simplertrading.com, or give the folks a call here at 512-266-8659. With all that out of the way, as promised, here is a little bit of my A+ watch list for tomorrow. And we'll open up the live charts here and we'll take a look. But first, I'm going to give you a bit of a quiz. On my watch list, Amazon Weekly, whoops, come on back. Amazon Weekly, LRCX Weekly, Google 15-minute, MRK Weekly, BKNG Daily, and EMPH 4-hour. These all fit all the A+ criteria, all the trend stuff, all the structure stuff, all the momentum stuff, everything I can teach you in the room. All right, it is quiz time. And again, there's my current workspace. The evolution of the squeeze. That's the advanced stuff, all the bells and whistles. You can take the original foundation on this workspace. I can help you build on that foundation. But all right, guys, it is quiz time. You should all get the perfect score. All right, no pressure. This is a pattern recognition test. I mentioned earlier, at a core level, at a bare minimum, we need two things for every trade: a squeeze and positively stacked EMAs. And we'll focus on longs, right? They tell me we're in a bit of a bull market. So I'm going to pull up a few different charts here. If we have a squeeze, so red dots on our histogram, and the stacked EMA's label is green, I want you to say yes. Right? It is a valid setup. If we don't have that combo, I want you all to say no. All right, are you ready? Test begins now. What do we think of BKNG on the daily? Rapid fire. Yay or nay? That'd be a yes. We have the squeeze, right? We got the red dots. We are going through that compression phase. We are building up energy. The EMAs are stacked positively. That would be a valid setup based on that core system. What about Google? 3, 2, 1, Google. What say you? Yeah, Google would be a yes. We have a squeeze printing. We have positively stacked EMAs. What about the weekly chart here for Broadcom? I can't wait to see this one. What about Broadcom? Valid or no? Should take a fraction of a second. That's a valid setup. Squeeze printing, positively stacked EMAs, and my God, 1,700 in the after hours. Wow. Gee, what a move. If I could turn back time, I might have bought a few calls. All right, next up, the daily chart for Tesla. Yay or nay? I think Broadcom hit plus 300 ATR. What do y'all think of Tesla? Is it valid? No. How come? Well, we got the squeeze. We don't have the positively stacked EMAs. Putting aside all the other criteria in my system, I can't buy Tesla. Not now, at least. What about AMD? I got a few more. AMD, yay or nay? Yeah, that'd be a nay. We have a squeeze. We don't have stacked EMAs. Two more for you. The point I'm trying to make here, when I teach you the system, I teach you the checklist. Any chart you pull up, in a fraction of a second, you know whether or not it's the ideal setup. We're not sitting there. We're not thinking about it for 5 minutes. It's either perfect or it's not. What about Coinbase? Coinbase valid? No, Coinbase will not be valid. We have our stacked EMAs, so the structure is solid. Where's my squeeze? I don't have a fresh squeeze. If I don't got a squeeze, I don't got a trade. Last one for you. Then we'll take a quick look here at the watch list, and then we'll do some Q&A. And then I'm going to go check out the Celtics. Don't tell me how they're doing. Last one, guys, NXPI. Yeah, Yusuf, we're doing the original squeeze here, but good eye on you. Yep, NXPI is valid. We've got compression. We've got some good structure. That one is valid. All right, now for my watch list here. Amazon on the weekly. And like I said, you can't see all the other criteria, all the trend stuff, the scoring system, the buy and sell signals. What I will tell you though, right now the weekly chart for Amazon totally fits the bill. Every box is checked. Until that changes, there could be a path here from that weekly squeeze towards $200. Sometime soon in the room, I'm thinking a 200 call fly for July. Another one, Broadcom. Now, obviously, Broadcom's a bit gonzo. The one that got away, going into earnings, Broadcom was literally perfect. Every indicator, every label, cranking out all the pretty colors. It called for a move towards 1600. Broadcom is a bit of an overachiever, 1700 and change. For tomorrow, I like BKNG. That one totally fits the bill. And then speaking of the semiconductors, LRCX on the weekly chart. We got the squeeze. We got the stacked EMAs. Everything else on the checklist lines up perfectly. Until that changes, there could be a path towards $1,100 and change. Hopefully, not tomorrow morning at the open. For all you day traders in here, Google on the 15-minute. The A+ setups on lower time frames, they can make for great day trades. If you find one on, say, the SPX, for example, that can make for a great 0 day till expiration trade. The key, however, you would trade that 15-minute Google squeeze in the same fashion, same entry, same exit, for the same reasons you would trade the weekly squeeze on LRCX. Same everything, different time frame. I've got MRK here on the weekly. That one fits all the criteria. And the last one for tonight would be ENPH. That one is A+ on the 4-hour. Now, here's the thing. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 names on the watch list. Just because they all fit the criteria, I don't wake up first thing tomorrow morning and blindly buy calls. There's a system and a process. We got to fight for a good entry. We got to work a good risk reward. We want to take into consideration the overall market. But like I said, it's a great foundation to build on. If you join the challenge, if you jump into the room, tomorrow I am live at 10:30 a.m. Central, and we'll go through the watch list. We will find our next A+ trade, and the 25 trade challenge begins next week. So I'll get the slides back up here. We will do some Q&A. The major thing I want you all to take home from tonight, a couple different things. One, aim to become a specialist. You can be decent at a bunch of different things, or you can become great at one thing. I think that's huge in trading. And then just as importantly, develop that winning mindset. Judge yourself, judge your system based on the results of a series of 25 trades. Stop making each individual trade a big ordeal. All right, let me jump in the chat here, see what we got for questions. And then I'll take a peek here at the Celtics in a minute. I'm a little bit nervous. Okay, Todd, great question. So when the EMAs are stacked positively, is that good enough? Or do they have to be pointing higher? That's a great question. And the short answer is yes, they have to be pointing higher. The positioning and the direction of the moving averages, that's all part of my trend and my structure criteria. So just having the stacked EMAs, not quite good enough. Great question. Denny, what about the bad spreads on the bid and ask on BKNG? Awesome question. Awesome question. If you find a good setup, so for example, BKNG, and you love the setup, it checks all the boxes, you open up the options chain, and you could drive a Mack truck through the spread, I would avoid it. No point in having FOMO, right? The spreads are kind of trashy. All right, I'm going to step back. I'm going to pass on this one. There's always another bus around the corner. Personally, I would avoid it. Matt, am I setting limit orders and stop losses on every trade? That is something you can definitely do. And I can show you how to do that in the room. When you guys are in the room tomorrow, I'll show you how on my charts, the upside and the downside targets automatically get plotted. So for conversation's sake, if tomorrow morning we wake up, we buy calls on Google on the 15-minute squeeze, before we pull the trigger, we know the upside target. From there, you can take the upside target. You can figure out a good working exit order, whether you're buying calls, doing a debit spread, whatever the case may be. Now, as far as the exits, I take my exits on a close below the 21 EMA. The point I'm trying to make, when we enter the trade, we know where we're wrong. We know our target before we ever even enter the trade. From there, if you want to set your exit orders, it's a pretty simple process. Good question there. Good question there. Michael, on the MRK trade I entered, on the momentum bar, color changed instead of the squeeze turning green. Yeah, so on MRK here, that's an awesome question. The simple answer, when I bought MRK, all my criteria lined up. It had all the makings of an A+ setup. On that candle right there, that was no longer the case. The trend shifted. I lost my buy signal. I lost my reasons for taking that trade to begin with. At that point, I've got to hit the road. At that point, no reason to still hold that trade. What delta am I buying on the straight calls? So that's a matter of personal preference. It's also a matter of account size and the cost of the option. So it can vary from time to time. As a general statement, for example, I'm taking the Amazon weekly squeeze. If my target is, say, $200 and the stock trades around 185, as a general statement, if I'm buying long calls, I'm probably going to buy the 190 call. I'm either going at the money or a little bit out the money. The reason behind that, when the trade works, I want to get a good bang for my buck. If I can buy those contracts a little bit out the money, catch that push towards my target, I can get a really good bang for my buck. Rick Johnson, what's up, Rick? What time frames do I find and give you the best A+ setups? That's a good question, Rick. I wouldn't say there's a time frame that gives the best setups. It's a matter of what's your approach. Meaning, if you're a day trader, I think you want to live and breathe these setups on a 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute time frame. Same setup, same entry, same song and dance. The biggest difference between a 1 hour squeeze and a 5-minute squeeze, the 5-minute squeeze would be a lot quicker. You're either right or wrong a lot faster. So it's a speed thing. If you're a bit more of a swing trader, I think you live and breathe on the 4-hour, daily, 2-day, weekly charts. So they can work on any time frame, and I've had great trades across all time frames. Again, a matter of personal preference and a matter of your goals, all that good stuff. Jerry, are most of my trades day trades? I would say as of late, it's about a 70-30 split. 70% being swing trades, about 30% being day trades. That's just my personal preference. I started as a swing trader. I love swing trading. But you better believe it, if I'm sitting there in the morning and Apple gives me a perfect 30-minute squeeze, I'm taking that thing for a day trade. I'm not anchored or limiting myself to one given time frame. The motto is we take them where we can get them, Jerry. We take them where we can get them. Lisa, can I use this for a 0 day till expiration on the SPX? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. A 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute squeeze, A+ setup, 0 day till expiration. That can make for some great trades. And I've seen a lot of the traders in my room doing exactly that with a lot of success. All right, couple more questions here. RK asks, what if the stacking EMAs do not line up on each time frame? That is a very good question. The best setups take place when you have multi-time frame alignment. For example, when you have stacked EMAs, if you have them on the 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, and the daily charts, those are the best trades. So I'm very big on that multi-time frame analysis, and that's something we look at for every trade we take. What is better than one A+ setup, 3, 4, or 5 of them all at the same time? The best example as of late, T-Mobile. At the same exact time, T-Mobile had an A+ setup on the weekly, on the 3-day, the 2-day, the daily, the 4-hour, and the 2-hour. They all had a squeeze. They all had stacked EMAs. They hit all the trend criteria, momentum criteria, the perfect setup on 4 or 5 different time frames. That can lead to a pretty big move like this one. That's some good stuff. All right, folks, couple more here. I appreciate all the questions. Ryan, how do I determine my target? My targets are always about 3 average true range moves above or below that 21 EMA. If I buy calls on a weekly squeeze, I want to sell those calls for a profit about 3 ATR above that weekly 21 EMA. And on my other workspace, that gets plotted automatically. So 2.5 to about 3 ATR. Samir, how do I consistently risk the same amount of my trading account when the premiums will vary per contract on the stock? Yeah, good question, Samir. That's where utilizing different strategies can really be helpful. If you have, say, a $10,000 account, and you're looking at a stock where the calls are going for $2,000, we can't buy a call, right? We're not going to risk 20% of our account on one trade. However, we can do something like an out-the-money debit spread. We could do something like a put credit spread, something like a butterfly. We can take that setup with a slightly different strategy and decrease the cost of entry. That's why from time to time, you'll see me taking different strategies. Call flies, debit spreads, long calls, etc., etc. Make sense? Bill, this will be the last question and a good question. By what percentage has my win or loss rate improved by using this method? Awesome question. So it's not so much the win rate that's improved. What's really improved is a ratio between the losing trades and the winning trades. Right now, I'm batting about 1 for 2. When I'm wrong, I'm losing 1. When I'm right, I'm losing 2. The reason being, when I take that checklist, these setups have explosive potential. So when they work, we can catch those outsized moves. Because the system is so straightforward, as soon as things no longer fit the criteria, I am hitting the road. I'm not sitting there taking a bigger loss than necessary. So I'm pretty much at the point where I'm trading like a robot based on the pretty colors. My win rate has slightly improved, but again, more importantly, it's a ratio between the size of my losses and the size of my wins. Awesome question, Samir. But all right, folks, we'll call it a webinar there. As always, I appreciate your time. As mentioned, I am live tomorrow morning in the room, 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. Central, looking for our next A+ setup. And Monday morning of next week, the challenge shall begin. 25 trades in a row, nothing but A+ setups. I am very much looking forward to that. Let me put my email here in the chat. Or better yet, I'll put the email up here for you. Taylor.horton@simplertrading.com. I missed your question. If you want to chat for a bit, feel free to shoot me an email. I am here to help. And again, folks, I appreciate all your time. Hope you had some fun. Hope you had a few laughs. I hope you learned a thing or two. And I hope to see you all in the room for tomorrow. Until then, have a great night. Be safe. Pat your dog on the head. And I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you and adios.